Florida has executed the man convicted of killing a beloved Miami Herald employee 25 years ago. Janet Acosta, 49, was on her lunch break on April 25, 2000. She had parked in a quiet Japanese garden in Miami, reading a book and relaxing before returning to work at the newspaper. Everything seemed normal until a man approached her car. He looked disheveled and poorly dressed and asked her for a cigarette. That man was Michael Tanzy, someone who could have become a prolific serial killer if he hadn't been stopped. At the time, Tanzy was largely unknown to police. While he had been arrested before for minor crimes and drug possession, no one suspected what he was truly becoming, someone capable of extreme, premeditated violence. Just months before Janet's murder, he had already killed another woman, 29-year-old Caroline Holder, in Brockton, Massachusetts. So when he encountered Janet, he had already crossed the line and liked the feeling of killing. That day in the park, with Janet's car window slightly rolled down and her attention focused on her book, Tanzy suddenly attacked her. He punched her in the face multiple times and managed to force his way into the vehicle. He took control of the car and started a 159-mile journey to Key West. But this wasn't a typical abduction. At a gas station along the way, he bought rope and a towel. Janet was tied up, gagged, and constantly threatened. At one point, he even forced her to lay her head on his lap under threat of death. Over the next 2 days, he used her ATM card to withdraw money, buy marijuana, visit friends, and eat well, all while keeping Janet bound in the car. Then, near mile marker 21 on the overseas highway, he decided she had to die. If she survived, she could identify him. He tried to strangle her with the rope, but when she resisted, he used duct tape to cover her mouth, nose, and eyes, and continued the strangulation until she stopped moving. He dumped the body in a remote area and drove off, thinking no one would ever find her. But her friends and co-workers had already reported her missing, and police were tracking the ATM withdrawals. 2 days later, officers found the car. They waited until Tanzy returned and approached him. He was calm and said, "I know what this is about. I want to talk about some bad things I've done." What followed was a series of audio and video confessions. Tanzy detailed everything step by step and led detectives to Janet's body. The jury unanimously recommended the death penalty, which the judge confirmed. Tanzy then spent over 2 decades on death row. At 48 years old and weighing nearly 380 pounds 172 kilograms, his lawyers argued that he suffered from medical issues that would make lethal injection cruel and unusual, including severe sciatica, hypertension, obesity, and acid reflux. But both the Florida Supreme Court and the U.S. Supreme Court denied his request to delay the execution. So, on April 8, 2025, at 6 p.m., Michael Tanzy was executed by lethal injection at Florida State Prison in Rayford.